talk about what life was like on the carrier. Talk a little about the Intrepid.
Well, the carriers are built for one thing, and that's to get planes to the target. And so the squadrons that are on if there's preferential treatment, I guess that would be it. And of course the personnel that serviced our planes and stuff like that, you know, they were enlisted people, and they lived in the, but we had staterooms. It wasn't a room as big as this, half of this big, but you had a couple guys who would have a room. And the one, if you were junior officers, you were lower down. Well, the ones that we had were bottom waterline, and there was up on just under the flight deck, up forward, there was a big room with a lot of bunks in it. But it was above the water. So some of us elected to stay up there, and but you had well, I'd say excellent meals. I mean, it's kind of like kids going to college now and complaining about, you know, the cafeteria food's terrible. I tell them, wait till you start paying for the food, you decide how good it is. But the accommodations were good. The ready rooms where the pilots prepared, got briefed and all that stuff, were the only places, except for the captain's quarters, that were air conditioned. And of course, you know, down in the tropics, you know, any place, but the lower down, you know, it was hot, sweaty, and all that sort of stuff. So, from the standpoint where I stayed, and a bunch of guys up in the, I don't know what they call the thing even. But from there, you know, you could just go up a little flight of stairs, and you could be up on the flight deck and cool off and get that. But the food was good, and of course, there again, they had mess boys to serve you. You had tablecloths, and you had far different from the Army. I know when we landed in the Philippines, and we stayed overnight there, and we had a couple of guys who, there's always ornery guys that like to rub stuff in. So we were sitting there, we had a Thanksgiving meal, and they dished out to you, and you were sitting along a foxhole or something. They said, well, it's too bad about you, because you know what we have? We have linen tablecloths, and we have shovelware. Rub it in. And from that standpoint, the living was, I would say, and of course, again, you know, you come out of a small town, and you know, America wasn't as affluent at that time, you know, and coming out of the Depression, you weren't used to. It was pretty good living as far as I was concerned, just from a physical standpoint.
Well, go ahead.
Well, you had the air group had a doctor who was killed actually in the kamikaze attack. But and with the ready room, we were free anytime that we weren't flying to be up there. You didn't have to. So.
And that was the only air-conditioned room on the ship?
Well, outside the captain's quarters, of course, they were air-conditioned. But the rest, nothing else in the ship was air-conditioned. And here again, and it seems ridiculous in a way, but the reason the carrier's there is to get these planes by these pilots to the target.
So the pilot's ready room was air-conditioned?
Yeah.
Okay. Talk a little bit about the downtimes, and you did basketball games, opportunities to play on the ship.
Well, yeah, we had most of the. Well, you had to be in the Navy Air Corps. You had to either be a college graduate or at least have 2 years of college. And so, in our squadron, And you had to be fairly coordinated to be a pilot. You didn't have to be superior, but you had to be at least be able to walk. And so we had kids, college kids, stuff like that, pretty good athletes. And so we put together a pretty good team. And on the hangar deck which is just below the flight deck, where they do repair planes and stuff and all that, there's big areas and they can clear it. And so they rigged up some baskets and we could play basketball down there. And of course the enlisted men also had a very good team. And of course they loved to beat the officers, you know. And I don't know if they ever did quite beat us, but there were some real. It was about the only time enlisted men could gouge an officer and not get called for it. But we became pretty good friends with those guys.
Did they know of your reputation as a college basketball player when you came in there? Or they figured that out pretty quickly?
Some of the guys in the squadron might have. I don't know. I know we had. Well, in fact, one of the guys that we lost there at Formosa was from Dartmouth. We had some Ivy League guys, but it was that was good. Of course, when we were ashore, softball, we played a lot of softball, and we had a good team with that. And then, of course, aboard the carrier, you could go up on the flight deck, and they had, you know, what do you call them? These heavy balls that you can throw around and stuff like that to exercise. And if you were anchored someplace, which we practically never were, you know, the guys would swim. We go off the side and swim, but it was well, I guess I never felt bored. You know, you'd rather been home. But AC-doocy, which I think maybe is backgammon. I don't know. Is that what it is? That was the big one. And of course, the skipper thought he was really the top guy in that too. So everybody had to go and try and shoot him.